Hi, nice
This
to
is
meet
Cristian
you.
Minor.
Hi, Cristian,
How you
nice to
been?
meet you. Good, thank
Very,
you.
very nice meeting you.
Yeah, me
Please come
too.
here with us.
Thank you.
Here. Please
Hi,
sit.
Roberta.
This
Hi.
is Kim.
I'm Kimber.
Betley.
Hi, Kimber, nice
It's
to
so
meet
nice to
you.
This
meet
is my
you.
partner. So please sit down.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
How was your ride in today?
Fine. I know this area pretty well, so
Good.
you know, it's easy to find.
Good.
Do you live around here?
I do actually. I live in the Regent Square area.
I don't really know that area, but perfect. I'm
Not
glad you
in
know.
Pittsburgh, I take it.
No, I'm not. I
Yeah.
went to school in Florida, but
Excellent. How long have you been here?
I have been here for a year now. So,
Okay.
but do you need any water or anything?
No, thank you. I'm good.
Okay. So it is very nice to meet you in person, Roberta. I understand you are here to discuss an issue with your father's inheritance. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, I'm going to let you know that we have been practicing property estates and trust law for over 5 years here
Great.
in our practice, and we are very familiar with these kind of issues.
Great.
Yeah, and actually before we begin, Roberta, in case you haven't done any attorney interviews before, I just wanted to let you know that there is a attorney-client confidentiality privilege, so a lot of the things we say here today will remain confidential.
Great.
There just might be some things that actually we might need to share with colleagues in the office.
Okay.
Do you have any questions, or do you understand that?
I'm not, I think I understand. I don't have any big secrets, so.
Okay. Well, at the end, if you're comfortable with that, we can both sign this, and
Okay.
I'll be able to give you a copy
Great.
for your records.
Great, thank you very much.
You are welcome. And so,
Okay, so one other thing I wanted to ask you before you tell us why you are here today is if you are comfortable with us jotting down a few notes while we talk.
Oh, sure,
Do you mind?
please, yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
Um,
Okay, Roberta, so if you don't have any other questions about our practice or anything else you have heard so far, so why you don't go ahead and tell us why you came here today?
Sure. Well, so I think, the basic problem is that I was expecting to inherit a third of my parents' estate. When my father's will went to probate, my brothers decided to challenge my inheritance. I was adopted into the family at age 14, but I had been friendly with the family for a few years before that, and I really felt like they, were so welcoming to me. And my dad he was a businessman, and he was not afraid to talk about money, and he had made it clear to both me and my brothers that I was his third child, and everybody in the family knew that the will reflected that. Or at least that was our understanding.
So he treated you as a child?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I've it was not just that he treated me as a child, but he even said to me, and to my brothers, my first Thanksgiving with the family, after dinner we were all talking, and he just took a moment to say how glad he was to have a third child. Yeah, it was really, he was a really good man. And also said to us then that he and my mom had their wills amended to be sure that I was treated as their child equal to my brothers. So, that was my expectation all along, but of course I didn't really think that the inheritance would be an issue for another several decades because he was in good health. But
right.
Okay.
Wow. I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank
too.
you. Thanks very much.
So, I guess just along with that, did your brothers react in any way, like negatively, when your dad said that over the dinner table?
They were quiet, they were older, a couple years older than me when I was adopted, and so they were almost out of the house at that point, and we weren't ever very close for that reason. And I was the only girl, and I always thought there were other reasons. I guess now I'm questioning whether or not the money really mattered to them, but at this point, I guess I'll never know.
Right. Oh, wow. So, I'm really sorry that you have to be dealing with this strife in the family while you're also dealing with the loss.
Thank you.
I can't imagine.
It must be very difficult for you. So.
Thank you.
And, I definitely have a few more questions about your situation, but before we get onto that, I kind of want to just make sure I have straight what you've told me so far, if
Sure.
that's okay.
Sure.
So basically, you were 14 when your parents adopted you, but before that you had, kind of been a part of the family in a way. And you said it was your first Thanksgiving that you spent with the family when your dad took the moment to say, how happy he was to have you as the third child, and that he also expanded his will to include you as
Yes.
as a child.
Yes, absolutely.
Is there anything I missed in there?
No,
Okay.
I think that's good.
Okay. So. did you-
Okay, so I wanted to ask you, Roberta, so what are your goals here? What goals do you have here for this case?
I mean, it feels really kind of crass to say that I need money, but the truth is that I do. Yeah, and before Dad died, I was still living at home. I just graduated from college less than a year ago. I've actually thought about law school.
Nice.
So,
If you ever have questions, let
thank
us
you,
know.
thank you. I
They
may
were
take you up on
here.
that. I had talked to Mr. Carter a few times about that. He was around some during my upbringing, and so he knew that I was thinking about law school. But one of my main goals is just that at this point I'm kind of in a financial emergency because I don't have any means of supporting myself.
Okay, so how those goals will impact you?
How?
So financially?
Yeah, I'm concerned about the finances.
The finances.
And I don't like being in the position to sue Mr. Carter. I'm not thrilled that this is where I am. But I also feel like I've exhausted my other options, and all throughout the process I thought surely, like when I appealed the probate court's decision, the other court would understand that what really mattered was what my dad wanted, and nobody has seen it that way.
So you don't have any relationship with your brothers?
Well,
today?
not since really the funeral. Honestly, we had relationship and it was never very contentious, but since the funeral I've hardly spoken with them.
Okay. So, Roberta, is there anything that you are trying to avoid with this case?
I would like it if I could avoid any further damage to my relationships with my brothers, but I don't think that they care what I do with Mr. Carter. At this point, I don't know how much contact I can expect to have with them anyway, so.
Gotcha. So, we want to ask a couple more questions to see if there, is more here that can help your case, and we definitely want to try to help you achieve those goals that you just, told us about. But, we also want you to be aware that no case is a definite, but we want to work to the best of our abilities to help
Sure.
you achieve those goals. But it really sounds like we might have a cause of action here. So if we could just ask you a few more questions.
Sure.
Okay, perfect. So,
So, for example, I have a question for you, Roberta. So, were you present when your father told Mr. Carter that he wanted to change his will to include you as an equal beneficiary as one of his children in the will?
I wasn't present, but I brought you some paperwork.
Oh, perfect.
These
Very
are
helpful.
2 letters that I found in my dad's files. One is the letter that he first wrote to Mr. Carter after my adoption, where he says that, it says, we want to ensure that Robert will inherit equally with Paul and David. I think it's a typo, it should say Roberta. And then this is Mr. Carter's response to him. So,
okay, so you said this is between Mr. Carter and your father.
right.
I know you said it was during Thanksgiving when he, told you he was going to make you part of the will, but, while you were, I'm not sure if they passed away while you were in college, but, did they ever, at any time, your parents send you any emails or letters showing that, I guess basically mentioning that they were putting you in the will or adding you to the will?
No written correspondence to me. The only other thing that I don't know if this is legally significant or not, but, this $150,000 that they had originally put that in the will before I was ever adopted. And it was designed to pay for my college education. I was in a mentor program and I had gotten another family that way. So before they ever started talking to me about the possibility of adopting me, my dad had said that, if I worked hard in high school, they would pay for college for me. And he told me then that he had made provisions in his will just in case he was not around anymore when I was ready for college. There would be something that would pay for my education. But of course, then they wound up adopting me, and they paid for my college while they were alive. I now have a college degree, and it still just strikes me as strange that the court would say, well, we know that they wanted to pay for your college, so you're going to get this $150,000. None of it makes sense to me. I don't really know what to do with that, but.
Right. I'll definitely, any information helps, so
Okay.
we'll definitely look into that. That is helpful, and on that, okay, so they paid for the college while you were alive. If you weren't present when your father changed the will then?
Well, I think, I don't even think he really met with Carter to talk about it, but he wrote that letter to Carter, and then Carter came to our house shortly after I was adopted, just on another matter. But he wanted to meet me, and he said to me then, like, oh, it's really nice to meet you. I was responsible for making sure that the will reflects that you've been adopted and that you're their third child now.
He's all you, okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Everybody, and he doesn't even challenge that. Like, Mr. Carter knows what the intention was, and he wanted me to inherit that way.
Wow.
But in fact, I also have this for you. This is when I first challenged the probate court decision. This is the affidavit that Mr. Carter came in and made. And I really, I appreciate that he was willing to do that, but he's totally unwilling to accept responsibility. And to me, it's his error, and I just don't know what else to do.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, in this affidavit, he pretty much accepts that that you were going to be considered as one of the child of your father.
Right.
So, yeah, perfect.
Wow.
I think that this is very helpful.
Yeah, thanks for bringing this in.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, did you?
Yeah, do you have any other paper from prior proceedings, and maybe any other document you can think of?
I know your office already has a copy of the will itself, so I didn't bring that with me today. But that's all I've found so far. If I come up with anything else, I'll send it your way.
Okay.
Did you by any chance, undertake any investments or buy houses or cars or, make any expenditures in anticipation for this money?
Yeah, I right after I found out what I would be inheriting or what I thought I would be inheriting, I bought a house because I was living alone at that point in the family home, and it was just kind of awful to be there. And so
Right.
When Mr. Carter first came by with the will and told me that he thought I would be getting $7 or $8 million, I told him that I thought I would work with a realtor to find something new for myself. So I've just recently bought a house that I have no way of affording at this point.
How much is the house worth?
The house is $800,000 is what I paid.
Wow. Very nice house, I imagine.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And I had, originally I had a little bit of savings that was already set aside for me that I used as the down payment. But at this point, the $150,000 is just a drop in the bucket.
So did you finance the house through a mortgage?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, wow.
So now you have. How much is your monthly payment?
I think I'm paying about $2,500 a month right now.
Wow. Okay, so well, so in summary, so pretty much you have some goals as the main goal here is the money. So
Yeah.
we are going to be straight up front. So here you need money.
Yes.
So and pretty much you want the money that you will inherit from your father. So you want to sue Mr. Carter. You want to avoid to have a bad relationship with your brothers. Is that correct?
Yeah, if they don't have to be involved, that's better.
So we have these documents that you brought for us, and that's really cool. This is great. And also I have here that you told us that Mr. Carter told you directly that that you will be considered one of the children of your
Mhm.
father, right?
Mhm.
Perfect. And also here that you included in some expenses as a house that is worth $800,000 and you paid a mortgage of $2,500.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Perfect. Is there any other information that you want to include that may be important in the case, that even if you are unsure of its importance, that you can
I don't think really of anything else. I mean,
any detail, any conversation that you had, any maybe between you and your father, maybe.
did I tell you that Carter knew I was going to buy a house? We did talk
Oh,
about that.
he knew that.
Yeah.
So he
He was
knew
aware, yeah,
that
'cause
you were relying on that.
well, and he and I joked about, my dad used to always say that paying rent was like throwing money down a hole.
Mhm.
And so we joked about, how it just didn't make any sense as someone who was about to inherit several $1,000,000 to go rent an apartment,
Right.
So he was aware that I was gonna buy that house.
So Carter knew. Okay. Perfect. That's really important.
Wow, okay. Do you have any questions for us so far, just in kind of what steps are next or anything like that?
I guess I'm just curious, how good you think this case is against Carter.
So basically, I don't want to mislead you in any way. I want to look over all of these details, see, what Pennsylvania law is, what is required to, try to help your case be successful. And I want to at least take, a few days to maybe a week to look over all of this
Sure.
before I can give you a definite answer.
Okay.
But before we move forward, I just want to make sure you're comfortable with, if you kind of like how our conversation went today, and basically we don't charge an hourly fee. It wouldn't be any cost to you. We just charge a contingency fee. So basically, we would only take money if we got money for you, and we would take a third of whatever you got. So if that
Okay.
is okay with you and you're comfortable with that and you'd like us to represent you, we'd love to work with you as long as there's a viable claim here, if that's okay.
Yeah, I guess my only question about that is, will I have a say in, if he offered to settle with us, would I have a say before we accepted that settlement?
Oh,
or would it
definitely,
be-
most
okay.
definitely, yeah. Definitely, we will be upfront here with you, and we will talk to you, so of any information that we have from Mr. Carter, and
Okay,
definitely we'll talk to you before, and then we will consider that the option.
okay,
Yeah,
okay,
definitely.
great.
So, any other question, Roberta?
No, I think that's it. Thanks
Perfect.
very much.
No, Roberta,
Thank
we really want to thank you for coming in today. You have done a really great job bringing us
Thank
these
you.
documents and giving us a lot of information regarding your case.
Thank you.
Definitely, as Kim told you, so we want to research this thoroughly, and then we will decide whether or not you have a claim against Mr. Carter.
Okay,
So,
And in the meantime, maybe even too, if you want to bring some documentation of the house you bought,
Sure.
things like that. So kind of a little bit of homework for you too while we are, researching your case. And in the meantime, is next Thursday okay to give you a
sure,
call?
yeah,
So we'll probably call you next Thursday around 2 if you're available.
okay,
But in the meantime, if you can gather the documentation on the house you bought, and if you think of anything else other than that, I can give you our card.
great.
And please don't hesitate to call us if there are, sorry. Please don't hesitate to call us if
Thank
there's
you
anything
very
you
much.
think of.
yeah, this is Marto.
Thank you.
And other than that, we'll give you a call next Thursday around 2 and let you know if this is a viable claim and what your chances might be.
Great, appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, it was such a pleasure
Okay,
meeting
it was a
you.
pleasure
Thank
meeting
you.
you. Thank you
Thanks
so
very
much for
much.
coming.
We will walk you out,
Thank you.
and I look forward to talking to you soon.
You too.